So what if there was a supplement out there that will help your muscles get more energy? That way you can train better. It also will help you build that muscle that you want and also recover a little more efficiently. What if you also didn't have to worry about the same side effects that you have to think of if you decide to take anabolic steroids? Well, lucky for us, there is a supplement that does that. And it was one I was quite confused about and really afraid of for so long. So first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Anissa. If you're new to my channel, I am happy that you decided to click in and hang out with me on this video. This video is near and dear to my heart because my lifestyle as a bodybuilder really does require me, one, not only to take care of my nutrition, but also be informed about supplementation and how it can benefit me. Also, if you're not new to my channel, I'm so happy that you are here to hang out with me today and learn about this part of my journey as well. Now, that supplement that I was just alluding to is creatine. Yes, creatine monohydrate. I remember hearing my ex-boyfriend say that he took creatine. I was so shook. This was so many years ago, though. This had to be like 10 years ago. And I was so misinformed prior. All I knew were like the myths. I was also that girl afraid of lifting heavy. All of the things I've definitely have come full circle, but I am going to be sharing not only like my experience, but some myth busting as well. And while no, I am not a doctor, I'm not your primary care physician, please just do the research also for yourself, hear out what I have to share, and that way you can discuss if you feel like this supplement is something you would like to take with like your primary care provider. This supplement has become my staple. Even when I may skip my other supplements, I'm always taking creatine. It is like my non-negotiable firsthand, like my physique. So when I got back into the gym, I could tell I was like recompositioning and adding in muscle and like decreasing fat. However, and this was as I was like dialing in my nutrition. However, when I started adding this in, it changed. It definitely changed. I was able to put on like the most muscle I've ever had in my life. And I'm like going to be 35, y'all. I'm gonna roll the clock back and show you a picture of like my physique as I got back into the gym on my fitness journey. The main goal was from the beginning to like put on more lean muscle, like have that toned body. I want to be like thick and toned, so I definitely wanted more muscle, but also to look toned. And as I was dialing in my nutrition, I definitely started to see those results, but it wasn't until I was getting into competition prep for bodybuilding and my coach added in creatine monohydrate that I think I was shook. Like, I never thought it would look this muscly naturally at that. And I feel like the proof was just in the pudding. And so the second picture I'm going to add in was after my first show, like pretty much like the night before my show. So you can definitely see, one, I am lean, but like the muscle visibility. Now moving into my third show technically, because I did 2 shows in a week for like my first experience. That's a different story for a different time. But going into my third show, and the difference between these 2 time frames was like into April, beginning of May, and then into November. So training way harder, definitely still keeping that nutrition on lock, and also having my supplementation routine dialed in. And like I said, this is like the main one. I can't even turn it around. This is the main one. I do not skip creatine. Other things I may like get a little off on, but this with like essential amino acids are like done deal after every workout, or even when it comes to mixing into my pre-workout, I'll even add creatine, just like one a day, so I have to like pick when I want it. So amongst these 3 photos, you can definitely see a change in it. And again, I'm not going to discredit the work in the gym, the nutrition, but definitely once I started adding in supplementation, I could see those physique changes evolve. Now, going into this year, recently on a trip to Dominican Republic, this was I would say now more like my off-season physique. So I'm not heavily prepping for a show, but still keeping my creatine in my routine has helped me maintain that lean muscle mass, continue to add it as well. We're gonna go into the myths, so that way I can tell you research and also my experience. So one thing people say is creatine will make you bulky. You're going to be bulky if you're in a surplus. Like, let's get that out of the way, because you're going to be adding in more mass to your body frame, whether that be through muscle, whether that be through fat. However, it is not the creatine causing the bulkiness. You would have to truly evaluate your nutrition game. The only other caveat to you feeling or looking more bulky is if you're really training for that goal in mind of adding very dense muscle mass, and that would take quite a bit of time, even with creatine, to feel that result. The science supports that creatine helps to add lean muscle mass, and for us women, unless we have an elevated testosterone level, again, you're not going to see crazy amounts of muscle being added in a very short period of time, resulting in that bulkiness. In regards to me and my experience, I have actually taken creatine up through show night. It actually does help to keep that water in the muscle, which, yes, that would enhance the look of the muscle. And if you do have a higher body fat percentage, that can result in that bulkiness. But as I was saying, that if you think you're about to look like She-Hulk over some creatine overnight, absolutely not. Okay. So now that we're done talking about bulkiness, this is going to go into our next myth, is that creatine causes bloat and water retention. I can say for a fact, if you feel like you're bloated and holding on to a lot of water, you need to look again at several different factors. One, are you drinking enough water? When I am dehydrated, and not like in a water cut for a show, but not really maintaining my regular intake of water, which is around a gallon, I will feel and look more bloated. But it is not creatine alone. As I said, and the science backs this up, creatine does pull water into the muscle, but again, you got to think about your skeletal frame and where your muscle is placed. That's not going to make you look crazy bloated, right? We're moving into the myth number 2, is that creatine makes you look bloated and hold on to water. Technically, yes, creatine does pull water into the muscle, so you can have temporary water retention, but I would beg that you would look at a couple of factors. One, are you like taking in a lot of salt? Sometimes that is what makes me look more bloated. And the other thing is your water intake overall. If you're not taking in enough water, you are going to hold on to more water for your body and its function, which can cause that bloat. The water being held in the muscle is not the same as subcutaneous or like underneath the skin bloating as well. So that water that's getting pulled into your body or creatine is going to your muscle, not right under the skin. As I mentioned before, I do take creatine during my preps and leading into my show day, and I'm actually cutting water at the same time. And back to the pictures as the proof here, I'm not holding like that bloated look, almost like if you're a girl, like if you're thinking like PMSing time frame, it's not that. Like my muscles just look fuller. The next myth, this is like another one that kind of what I used to once think, that creatine was only for men and only for bodybuilders. No, creatine is naturally occurring in food. So if you're ingesting, it's known mostly also in like beef products. If you have that in your diet, you are ingesting creatine. So it is natural one. The other point is that it's just as effective for women as it is for men because it supports healthy muscle building. It supports building the strength and endurance that you need in order to do the physical activities that you want. So whether you're an aspiring athlete, want to get into bodybuilding, or you just regularly like working out, or you're new to this, you can look at creatine as a viable supplement to have in your regimen, whether you're a man or a woman. Now, in a study from 2007 from DeVries, I hope I did not mess that name up, it does show, in particular in women who are with lean muscle mass, adding in that creatine did help in gaining strength and additional lean muscle mass. Now, if you think creatine is going to lead to weight gain, we need to think that one through a little bit. So if creatine is helping you add in muscle mass, Muscle is more dense than fat. So you can, as you are recomping, especially if you're not dropping as much body fat, go on a scale and look heavier. However, I would also challenge you in this whole journey, document progress photos. 145 on me now looks way different than before because I have more lean muscle mass. If you're seeing that increase in weight when you're taking creatine, it is most likely a little bit of water weight. And remember that water is actually being held in the muscle. So even if you're feeling heavier or the scale is reflecting a slightly heavy weight, just as I said, look at the pictures and really also just take those body composition measurements as well, because that water is actually really being held within the muscle, not underneath the skin, and making you look like more fat. Now, on the more like research-based side, this is from 2012, Smith-Bryan. It has shown that women using creatine experience muscle gains. It's not fat. So any weight gain is usually that bit of water weight, also with the mass of adding lean muscle tissue. And even that research states that the water within the muscle tissue is usually helping to make stronger and then also more toned. The last myth that we're going to discuss is one that hits home because, like I told you all, I used to be deathly afraid of creatine. And I was so uninformed about it at all. I just like based my thought on everything that I heard. But the myth is that creatine is unsafe or harmful to women. As I had stated before, this has been researched for a long time. So all those studies have shown efficacy, being safe in usage of both men and women, and especially if you're already a healthy individual. So there's a 6th point I want to make about creatine. That's not really like a myth per se, but it is something that I think we have to understand when it comes to supplements. They can become very costly. So one, only use them if you're really dialed in on your nutrition. That's when you're going to get the true benefit of them. But creatine is one of the most cost efficient supplements, which is why I don't go without it when it comes to cost versus benefit of it. I can definitely tell you there are some on my regular rotation I don't need to take per se, but this is not the one. This right here is my non-negotiable. Now that we've talked about creatine, I've given you like through the myths that even I used to think. I've shown you my transformation, and then also sprinkled in, of course, a little research, because we gotta be, intelligent around here, and you want to start taking creatine. There's 2 things that I want to just share with you. I have done loading phases and I have not done loading phases. The research shows that there is truly no need to do a loading phase. So what sometimes you'll hear is that double the amount of creatine that you take when you'll first start taking it. So like for a week, instead of doing 5 grams a day, it'll be like 10 grams a day. You do not need to do that. Just take like the 3 to 5 grams, scoop it out, pour it in, you're good to go. And then you can just maintain. The other thing is that if you would like to shop from like my favorite supplement brand, Core Nutritionals, they do have a creatine, and I also do have a discount code. I will have that linked down below in the description box. No obligation, but anything I share, anytime I can help you save a little money, all that information will be down below in the description box. Hopefully now, after we've hung out, you know that 1, creatine is safe for women to take. 2, that it is just helping you put on that lean muscle in a natural supplementation way. And also, it's not going to cause you to either A, become She-Hulk overnight, or B, put on tons of unwanted body weight. It is something that you can look into for yourself, do your own research, and add into your nutrition supplementation routine. Now, the mass that we do want to add is muscle. So I also have workout videos on here for you all, and I am going to share with you down in the description box as well my dumbbell only and resistance band lower body. I know some of us just don't have access to a lot of gym equipment, and this is something that you can do either minimally in a gym or if you're traveling. So check out that video as well so we can work out together. I totally love hanging out with you all, sharing my journey, sharing what I learned along my journey to help you on yours. So if you want to join along, hit subscribe and join me here. And I thank you so much for hanging out with me, watching this, listening to me. And if you want to continue the discussion, get down in the comments below. Until then, I will see you in the next video. Bye.